Okay, good morning, everyone. I would like to give some updates on the eTech project for social change. There are some changes that I made that I think is would be more helpful to you, given the remaining time. So during the last quarter, I asked each group. We had three groups, ano po, and I asked each group to submit at least one or two proposals for their social campaign. But instead of doing that, instead of having the project to be a group project, I will be choosing only one campaign out of the six proposals for the class. That means that this is now a class project. So how are we going to manage this? Um, per group, I would need two leaders per group, and we will be able to produce six leaders who will lead the campaign for the class. Of course, each member of the class are um, expected to participate actively. So ano po yung naging basis or reasoning sa pagpili ng proposal? Later on, you will see what proposal I chose for the class. First one is kung doable siya. And second one is if hindi siya katulad ng ibang mga topics ng ibang section because I'm handling five sections of e-tech, of the e-tech subject. So mas maganda kung hindi kayo magkakatulad. Ano po? So instead of using a blog, instead of you developing a blog from scratch, we will be using the Facebook page as our campaign platform. One, because you are already familiar with how it works, and two, most of your audience are actually in Facebook. So the campaign dates, I am already giving this to you, will be on January 9 to 18 of the year 2023. So this is a 10-day campaign period. So dapat yung inyong objectives ng campaign dapat ma-accomplish between the dates, between those dates, ano po. And if we do the math, we still have 60 days to prepare. So what do we need to prepare? There are a lot to prepare. Ano po? We have to think about the name of the campaign, our objectives. We have to think about our logo. We have to design and create our logo. Of course, the materials for posting and so on. The 60 days does not uh, includes the holidays. So less than 60 days po talaga ang meron tayo. And we have to prepare a lot because our project is for public consumption. Ano po, ibig sabihin, makikita siya ng ibang tao. So mas maganda kung napaghandaan yung ating project. So this is a key visual for our e-tech project for social change. So we can divide it into three different steps. First one is the launch, second is the inform, and three is the interact. So for the launch, syempre in day one, you have to launch your Facebook page. You have to open it to public, to the Facebook community. Ano po? During the launching day, dapat prepared na yung campaign site. Meron ka ng campaign name, you have already your logo, and you know what you want to do. You know your objective. You know your core message that you want to push to the audience, to the site visitor. Ano po? After the launching day, days 2 to 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 6 days of trying to inform the public, your audience, why the issue needs to be solved. Ano po? Otherwise, they wouldn't agree to participate, diba, in your online events, in your online activities, if they don't realize within those short span of days kung ano ang importance ng issue na ito ay talagang nararanasan natin, that this is relevant, that this is present in the society, that a certain group or majority of people are experiencing or suffering from the consequences of the issue. So otherwise, you won't have audience. People will not care about your social media campaign. Ano po? So to inform them, maybe you have to share blog posts or news articles. Maybe you have to share statistics in the form of infographics and posters so that your audience are well informed about the issue. And finally, interact, which will happen on days 8 to 10, the last 2 days of the campaign. So here, kailangan makapag-participate. Ano po, yung iyong mga audience. You need to convince them to be part of the campaign through an online event. So yung online event, when we say online event, it can take many forms depending on what your campaign is all about. Ano po? So for example, it can be an online webinar or symposium. Maybe you just want to inform them, so you would just keep on posting um, information, news articles, and blog posts. Pero maganda kung mataas yung participation, mataas yung engagement and interaction with the audience. Okay, so that's happening on days 8 to 10. So what are you expected to do if you will do a Facebook campaign? Ano po? So first, you have to establish the social campaign. You have to establish the identity. When we say identity, yung pagkakakilanlan. Ano po? So meaning the campaign name, the campaign logo, the campaign slogan, as well as the objectives, you have to already formulate. Of course, you have to set up the Facebook page. Beforehand, you have to create content for posting. Ano po, otherwise, di tayo prepared kung anong ipopost natin for day 2 or day 3, for example. Dapat we already have a roster of the materials to post. Gather a following. So, of course, dapat may nagla-like, dapat may pumapansin doon sa ating social media campaign. Dapat may shares or may reaction from the audience, may comments. And the people should be involved. Post contents in the page, of course. Interact with audience. So if they have questions through the chats, you should be able to answer them. And most especially during the online event that you will conceptualize and manage. And finally, to monitor performance of social media posts. So you will also have to observe, you will have to look at the data analytics, which of the posts are performing well. So for example, mas madaming people, mas madaming audience yung nagre-react or nagla-like, nag-share ng mga ganitong klaseng post. So maybe you have to focus on those types of posts. You have to give out more posts similar to that. Ano po? Because again, you have to give the public what they want, what resonates to them. Otherwise, hindi lalaki yung iyong audience. Hindi lalawak yung reach ng iyong social media campaign. So these are the approved topics per group. So in the first column, you are seeing the approved topic. Suggested focus. So of course, 10 days lang yung ating campaign. Malawak yung inyong topic. General po kasi siya. So if we only have 10 days, baka hindi natin magampanan yung ating objectives kasi wala tayong focus. Wala tayong specific target, kumbaga. And for the online event, this is something that you have to think about. So for fortitude, it's gender discrimination. For prudence, it's anxiety and stress. For charity, it's animal cruelty. For courage, it would be teenage pregnancy. Okay? So malaking topic pa rin yung teenage pregnancy. You can talk about contraceptives. You can talk about healthcare of teenagers who got pregnant earlier or early, and then you can also talk about the dangers of teenage pregnancy, 'di ba? Pero sa tingin ko, this is just a suggestion. Again, mas magandang gawa ng social media campaign kung paano maiiwasan, 'di ba? Yung teenage pregnancy. So, again, to prevent teenage pregnancy, madami pa ulit. Maybe you can talk about abstinence, 'di ba? Or again, contraceptives. Pero it would be the best if sa parent manggagaling, 'di ba? Yung instructions about yung guidance or yung advice on pregnancy sa kanilang mga anak. So, sabi dito, there are a lot of ways to stop teenage pregnancy, but the simplest way is to teach teens or adolescent how to communicate with their parents about awkward topics such as sex, relationship, and family. So if we can be able to convince them, to encourage them to open more about these topics to their parents, 'di ba? Mas maga-guide nung parent yung anak nila kasi they know them better than us. So your homework number one for the second quarter is to think about the campaign name. Ito na yung topic ha, teenage pregnancy, and the online event na mag-accomplish dun sa inyong focus o dun sa inyong objective. So kung ang suggested kong focus ninyo is to encourage them to communicate more with their parents, anong online event yung pwede mong gawin? Anong online activity yung pwede mong i-promote para mangyari yon, yung open communication with their parents? Meanwhile, for Piety, it would be sex education. So again, this is a big topic again. So parang related dun sa teenage pregnancy. Ano po? So there are a lot of things to talk about. Contraceptives, even the reproductive organs, 'di ba? Abortion, we can also talk about that, pregnancy, and so on and so forth. Hindi pa kasama dito yung gender identity, 'di ba? Or LGBT rights, and so on and so forth. So maganda kung meron lang tayong specific focus. So it's important that the topic is narrowed into something that can be advocated for a period of 10 days. So in terms of sex education, what my suggestion is to teach young women who have not yet had their period important information or heads up, kumbaga, about menstruation. So your focus is about menstruation, and your audience pwedeng yung mga bata, 'di ba, na hindi pa nagkakaroon, kumbaga, hindi pa nadadatnan in Tagalog, 'di ba? Meron tayong ganong sinasabi. During your first period dito sa ating mga girls from Piety. So what were the difficulties? Remember, do you wish na someone taught you, 'di ba? How to do or what to do if you suddenly had your first period. Okay? So maybe that can be the focus of the campaign. But again, these are just some suggestions. If you are able to think of a better focus, you can pitch that during the next online meeting. And the same with courage. Students from Piety, your first homework is to think of a campaign name. Ipang ating topic is sex education, and to think of a suggested online event that will accomplish the objective na may isa katuparan yung ating focus. Kung ang focus natin is to teach young women ng important information about menstruation, yung mga hindi pa nagdadalaga. So, what is the proper online event na pwede nating isuggest or i-promote rather in our social media campaign?